Have you ever walked into a room and instantly sensed tension without anyone saying a word? Noticed subtle changes in someone's tone that others completely missed? Or felt mentally exhausted simply because your brain refuses to stop observing everything around you? What if I told you that this isn't overthinking, but a powerful psychological trait called hyperawareness? And while it can feel like a burden, it may also be your greatest hidden strength. In today's video, we will break down the psychology behind people who are hyper-aware, explore why their minds never seem to switch off, understand the hidden advantages and silent struggles they face every day, and most importantly, discover how to turn this intense awareness into a powerful tool rather than a constant source of stress. Before we begin, if you've ever felt like your brain is always on, constantly analyzing people, situations, and emotions, then comment aware below, because this video might explain more about you than you expect. Hyperawareness is not just being observant. It is a heightened state of mental alertness where your brain continuously processes subtle details, emotional cues, environmental changes, and even unspoken dynamics that most people simply overlook. This often means noticing micro-expressions during conversations, detecting shifts in energy within a room, overanalyzing tone and body language, and constantly running internal simulations of what could happen next, even in ordinary situations. But here's the catch. Your brain doesn't filter information the same way others do. And instead of ignoring irrelevant details, it tries to process everything, which creates mental overload. Hyperawareness doesn't happen randomly. It is often shaped by a combination of personality, life experiences, and neurological sensitivity. For many people, this heightened awareness develops as a survival mechanism, especially if they grew up in unpredictable environments where reading subtle emotional cues was necessary to stay safe or avoid conflict. Others may naturally have a more sensitive nervous system, making them deeply attuned to sensory input, emotional shifts, and environmental stimuli. And in some cases, hyperawareness is linked to high intelligence and pattern recognition, where the brain becomes exceptionally skilled at connecting dots that others don't even notice. While hyperawareness can seem like a superpower, it often comes with invisible challenges that are rarely talked about. One of the biggest struggles is mental exhaustion, because your brain is constantly active, analyzing conversations long after they've ended, and replaying situations in search of hidden meanings. Another challenge is emotional overwhelm, where you don't just feel your own emotions, but also absorb the emotional states of others, making it difficult to separate what's yours and what isn't. And perhaps the most frustrating part is feeling misunderstood, because while you see layers beneath the surface, others may dismiss your insights as overthinking. But here's what most people don't realize. Hyperawareness, when managed properly, can become one of the most powerful psychological advantages. Hyperaware individuals often have exceptional emotional intelligence, allowing them to understand people deeply, navigate complex social situations, and build meaningful connections. They are also natural problem solvers because their minds are trained to anticipate outcomes, recognize patterns, and think several steps ahead. And in creative fields, this heightened perception can lead to extraordinary insights, originality, and innovation. The key is not to suppress your awareness, but to control where it goes. One effective technique is grounding yourself in the present moment, focusing on what is actually happening rather than what your mind is predicting. Another approach is setting mental boundaries, consciously deciding which thoughts deserve your attention and which ones do not. And perhaps most importantly, learning to trust yourself, understanding that not every detail needs to be analyzed for meaning. Because sometimes, the strongest minds are not the ones that think the most, but the ones that know when to stop. If you've ever felt like your mind is always scanning, always analyzing, always trying to understand more than what's visible on the surface, then you are not broken. You are simply wired differently. And in a world where most people operate on autopilot, your awareness gives you the ability to see what others miss, understand what others ignore, and feel what others cannot. The goal is not to dim this awareness, but to learn how to live with it without letting it consume you. If this video made you understand yourself a little better, share it with someone who needs to hear this. And subscribe to Science Simplified for more content that decodes the hidden patterns of the human mind. And remember, the next time you notice something others don't question yourself, because awareness is not your weakness, it's your edge.